guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over two entertaining articles written by a woman who is in her 30s and in my opinion, effeminist, and is not too happy that she's in her 30s and has no guy. And these two articles here are about her basically complaining about it, but also blaming guys. Big surprise, surprise. And this is yet a perfect example of what we're dealing with nowadays. And in the first one, she's more doing the woe is me, playing the world's smallest violin. But in the second article, which she does a few weeks later, she's turned it around blaming guys. That the only guys that want her are the weak guys. And the guys that she's attracted to, the strong men, well, they're turned off by her. And yet, she's unwilling to take a look at herself and change anything about her. Big surprise. It's always the guy's fault that she doesn't have a guy. And this will not surprise any of you, given that either you've experienced this in your personal lives or you heard videos about this. Nothing's changed. And you're going to see more and more of this as time goes on. Now, here's the interesting thing. Both these articles are from 2017. And I'm doing this on purpose. A few weeks apart. She's in her 30s. Well, I'm going to go through both these articles, and you're going to get a laugh out of this. It's not going to surprise you. But then her last article on this particular website was from the fall of 2023, 6 years later, or almost 2 years ago. And take a wild guess where her life is 6 years later. Has she learned something? Has she made improvements upon herself? Or is she still whining and complaining? Well, I'll let you guys speculate where that is. So I'm going to go through the first article here, and which is more of her whining and complaining. And you're going to see what I'm talking about here. And this is only going to reinforce why so many of you guys have walked away while you're not dating. So it says here, the title is, I'm panicking because I'm getting older and there's no one left to date. She says, I didn't worry too much about meeting the right guy immediately when I was younger. I thought it would happen in time and I had plenty of it. Now I'm in my 30s and single again, and I realize that I should have found a good guy then and snapped him up. This is why I'm freaking out. Number one, she says, my dating pool shrank before I even noticed. I was in a serious relationship for a couple of years, and then I was taking my time to recover from the breakup. Well, that's actually a good thing. When I was finally ready to date once again, I looked around and realized I had a serious problem. Everyone I meet is either married, in a committed relationship, or someone I don't want to date. Yikes. Okay, she's in her 30s, and so here's the question. Who does she want to date? Is it limited to just guys in their 30s, who probably are married, okay? Or is she willing to go with guys in her 40s or 50s? Probably doesn't want them. She probably wants guys in her age range. But I'm sure there are guys also out there that are single in their 30s, but they don't meet her what she thinks she's worth. Number two, all the good guys I know are taken now. I used to know tons of great dudes. Somewhere along the way, they all got snapped up, and the ones who aren't don't seem to be all that great. I know they have got to be awesome single guys out there, but the number is definitely smaller than it was when I was younger. Well, that would make sense. You're in your 30s, so of course there's going to be less guys out there. A lot will get married in their 20s, but probably be single in their 30s. But I'm sure there's a lot of good guys in their 30s, but they're not good enough for her. Now, I'm sure there's some guys that, okay, we could probably agree aren't good for her, fine, but I'm sure there's good guys out there. But given how I know her attitude here in the next article, it's her. 3. It's not like before. Most people are caught up in serious relationships. Before, people broke up all the time. Nothing seemed to be all that permanent. Now all around me, I see people who want to be settled down already. I'm the opposite. I'm just now finding my individuality and freedom and looking for another free spirit. Go figure. Looking for another free spirit? Well, that's your problem. So the guys she probably chooses to get involved with aren't exactly relationship material. But they're the guys that give her the butterflies, and she goes for them. And guess what? It doesn't last. That's what I'm interpreting, because she's calling herself a free spirit, and that's what she goes for. Number 4, everybody I know is getting married. Granted, my friends back home have been married forever. Some of them are even divorced or remarried by now. It's not the same out here in the big city. People take a little longer to make it official. Now I'm at the age where even my friends are getting married and having kids. I feel like the odd man out because I don't want a family. Well, you're going to have a problem there, because there are most guys out there that want to get married, want to have kids. So if you don't want to have kids, and that's your business, you are really minimizing your dating pool. So that's on you. 5. The only viable guys are younger or divorced. Okay, that's not entirely true, but it's the majority. The younger dudes haven't committed anyone yet, but I don't have a lot in common with most of them. I don't have an issue dating a divorced guy, at least I know he's able to commit. On the other hand, the older we all get, the more baggage we all have. So she doesn't want younger guys, because she can't relate to them. She doesn't want divorced guys, which, well, there's going to be a lot of them out there. She probably doesn't want guys that are older than her, thinking they're too old. So already you can see it's like, lady, you're in your 30s. Your prime has gone bye-bye, okay? She may be good looking for her age, but you're not giving yourself a lot of options here. She's being picky, picky, picky. 6, dating a guy who is divorced and or has kids is a whole different ballgame. There are definitely different issues that a divorced guy brings to the plate. An ex-wife, for instance, and perhaps alimony and other legal issues. If he has kids, I hate to say it, but that's a deal breaker for me. I don't want kids, and I don't particularly want to take care of somebody else's. This narrows my dating pool even more. Well, I got no problem with her. She doesn't want to deal with kids. At least she's being upfront about it. Fair enough, because if she doesn't want them, or, deal with them, she'd be a train wreck with somebody's kids. So, okay, fine. But again, that narrows down the dating pool. 7, men my age or older are still single for a reason. Yeah, because they're smart. She says, yes, I'm still single too, and that's also for a reason. I won't settle for just any guy. Ding, ding, ding. And this is why you're in your 30s and you're still alone. What do you bring to the table? If you're reducing your dating pool, honey, just like a lot of girls her age, there's not a whole lot of options out there beyond that. Maybe these guys are picky too, but unfortunately, all too often, there are different reasons for their perpetual bachelorhood. Sometimes they don't really want to commit a relationship, or maybe they aren't emotionally available, or maybe they're married to their jobs. You mean the married to their jobs are driven, successful guys? How do you think they got to be successful? Being married to their jobs. And she says that she's talking about how there's got to be a reason that they're still bachelors. Well, can't you turn that around and say, well, there's a reason you're a bachelorette and you're still single? 8. Also, most men my age or older want to start a family yesterday. I initially thought that I should date an older man because if they've reached a certain age and don't have families, maybe they're like me. Maybe they want freedom instead of kids. What I found more often is that they were so invested in their careers that they don't notice how the years slip by. Now they're looking to start a family immediately. Well, that may be true. And if a guy's in his late 40s or 50s, a gal in her 30s like her, okay, that works. But, yeah, he wants kids. Or say he's in his late 30s or 40s or close to her age. Well, if he's got money and success, he can get a chick in the 20s. 9. It's so tough to find any available man who shares my interests. I'll be the first to tell you that I'm looking for something very specific. Oh, God. And I know it won't be easy to find a man who fits the bill. I don't even know where to meet them. To be honest, I guess I should just go sit out in the woods until I find my mountain man. Usually when I do meet guys who pique my interest, they are with significant others. Well, she doesn't exactly mention what her special interests are to get these guys. 10. I meet so few potential options that I'm starting to generally worry. It can be a problem I'm perpetuated by areas I live in, but what is not? I worry that I'll move somewhere new only to encounter the same issues. I simply don't click with a lot of guys. I never have, which is why I get overly excited when I meet somebody I like. Well, she doesn't click with a lot of guys because she probably is so picky. That's the problem. And as she gets older, she needs to understand something, that she is not desirable as she once was. But a lot of these women in their 30s and definitely their 40s who are still single, they still think they're as desirable physically as they were in their 20s. And that is simply not the case. They can look good for their age, but they're completely unrealistic here. 11. Sometimes I'm tempted to just give up and settle. Settle, huh? I've never been one to give up on my standards, but I'll admit the thought crosses my mind. I've definitely settled in the past, and it was terrible. But I feel like now all my viable options have passed, but while I wasn't paying attention. I'm afraid the longer I hold out, the more I have to settle later on. Well, don't you think guys might be settling for you with your attitude? I mean, I'm okay with having certain deal breakers, guys, reasonable deal breakers, religion, ideas on where you want to live, money, things like that. But a lot of women have deal breakers that are just ridiculous, 12. I might have to accept my fate and die alone. Okay, drama queen. I definitely want to find an amazing partner, but I know not everybody gets that in life. I'd rather be my own than with somebody I don't deeply love, despite the scared little voice in my brain that tells me to settle sometimes. The older I get, the less certain I can feel that I'll meet the person eventually. It might not happen. Well, guys, so you can see, and we're about to get to the really good article, she really is her own worst enemy. She's the one who's getting in the way of, having a guy. All these standards, all this pickiness. Now, I've known women that are older, 30s, 40s, whatever, 50s even, and in my opinion, they know they're terrified of actually getting serious with somebody, so they'll set so many standards, thinking they're such a catch that, of course, it's not going to happen, and then they can say, hey, there just weren't any good guys. It's not my fault. It's all the guys out there. Well, now to her second article. This came like 3 weeks later. And listen to this one here. This is really going to show you, this really unravels who she is and why she's alone. Her attitude. Titled, Why Can't I Find a Good Guy Who Isn't Intimidated by Me? She says, it feels like there are two kinds of men in the world. Nice guys who find me terrifying and the jerks who aren't fazed by me at all. I know there have to be men out there who are both decent and strong because I'm both those things as well and I exist. Still, it feels like I'll never find this seemingly rare unicorn of a person. Right there. She's looking for a unicorn of a man. There's no such thing. It's ridiculous. And already, jerks and nice guys. The jerks aren't intimidated by her because they don't care. Number one, I have a strong personality and sometimes this attracts weak men. I don't understand it. I thought that when I became so confident and independent, I would attract a man who is the same. Instead, I seem to appeal to guys who want a mommy to tell them what to do. The problem is I don't want a child of a boyfriend. So when she said here, I have a strong personality and somehow this attracts weak men. What she should say is, I have a strong personality and it repels strong men. Guys, masculine men are not attracted to masculine women. We can already see that she's masculine. Masculine women are typically boisterous, loud, they want to take charge, their way of the highway, all these things. So if you have a masculine guy, it's like having two bulls in a pen. They're going to clash. It's not going to work. So, to no surprise, if that's her personality, and she's unwilling to change, the only guys she's going to attract are weak guys who are like to be told what to do. And she's turned off by those guys. Isn't that interesting? Number two, I like nice guys, but I like a manly one. Well, most guys that are in the nice guy category that women say are nice guys are typically not manly. They don't have a lot of masculine traits. There's a fine line between a good man and a doormat. I want someone who's kind, grounded, and considerate, not someone who let me walk all over him. He has to be strong and soft at the same time. I know that is rare, but I don't think that's too much to ask. So that's not going to happen. You're not going to have someone who's strong and soft. Strong men aren't soft. They can be good men, but they're not going to be soft in the way she's describing it. 3, men are always telling me that they find me intimidating. In other words, she's masculine. Yes, I have a big personality, which means she's loud and boisterous. But I'm not mean. I have a huge heart and an empathetic soul. I'm smart, but it's not as if I'm incredibly successful and rich. There's no real reason to be intimidated by me unless a guy is so insecure that he finds me threatening. It's a total turnoff. Well, what she said there is valuable, guys, because guess what? Women are repelled by guys that are intimidated by them, even if a girl's feminine. But right here. Yeah, the nice guys that would be attracted to her, she scares them. That's a turnoff to her. And the guys that obviously aren't intimidated by her, they're not interested in her because she's masculine, has a big personality. Number 4. Now here we go. I refuse to change my personality to fit a guy's preferences. Well, nobody should change good, positive things about them. I stand by that. But if you have negative qualities that are just harming you, repelling other people, that's when it's time to do some self-reflection and say, what can I do to change these things? I tell guys all the time to work on changing negative things about themselves, but these types, like her, nope, not going to change anything about me. If nobody likes me, too bad. She says, I'm proud of who I am. I've worked long and hard to get to a place where I truly like myself. I'd never let all of that go to please a man. If anything, a man's disapproval makes me push back twice as hard. I don't give a damn if I'm too much of a woman for him, he can leave. Right there, my way or the highway. Is that a feminine girl or a masculine one? Masculine. And again, masculine men who she says she's attracted to are going to be turned off by her personality, so she's not going to get them. And the weak guys will be after her, but she's turned off by the weak guys. On top of all the shit she said in her other article about what she wants a perfect guy. Number 5, it's like the right man for me is rare and a precious gem. She says, I keep telling myself that so I don't give up hope of finding him. I know I'm worthy of something magical, so I have to be patient. I can't pretend that a man clearly lacking in the correct qualities will work for me. It does get old, though, when all these simply good guys bail. Something magical, where are you at fucking Hogwarts? Magic doesn't happen. Right there, all there. Correct qualities. If it gets old, though, when the seemingly good guys bail, I mean, come on, honey. Number 6, I'm not going to soften my approach. In other words, she's not going to soften her personality. She's not going to change anything about herself that's turning guys off because she's right, men are wrong. When I was younger and less secure, a man was my superior told me that I needed to be softer. I took it serious back then, but I could never make it work. Now I'd laugh in his face. I have better things to worry about in life than how men perceive me. Well then, continue to be alone. And she said that a boss told her to be softer because probably she was coming off too strong. It was a turnoff. It was not just a turnoff romantically, it probably just turned people off in general. 7, I'm not responsible for protecting the egos of men who can't handle me. Nothing is more unappealing than a guy who is so fragile that he views my phenomenal womanhood as a threat to be squashed. I simply do not believe that a kind, caring man must also be a wimp. I found that most of the wusses out there are actually insecure and petty. So she's insulting guys saying basically men can't handle her. They're fragile egos and that shit like that. Let me tell you something. Men have the ability men can handle a lot. Believe me, and there are guys out there that are good guys, strong guys that can certainly handle a lot. But in terms of a boisterous, masculine, my way or the highway feminist woman, we don't want to deal with it. Why would we? Why would we deal with the drama? Us guys have enough shit to deal with in the world. The world's a challenge in itself, let alone to have some masculine, hard-headed woman to fucking deal with who doesn't want to change or budge an inch for anybody. Can you see, guys, why she's alone? And I'm sure you can probably predict how things are going to go in a few years. Number 8, I don't want a cocky jerk, but at least they aren't afraid of me. The cocky jerks don't care. Actually, that's untrue. They act like they aren't afraid of me, but in reality, I think they use their sarcasm as a defense mechanism against feeling anything real. That's no better than the men who let them walk all over me, or who let me walk all over them. I need mature love. Oh my God. Number 9, if a guy is scared because I don't put up with his crap, he shouldn't give me any. I find this to be a simple solution. I'm so tired of men saying I'm scary because I'll call them out when they're being awful. Being asked to behave like a decent person should not be a problem. I want a great dude who meets my standards. Well, I got no problem with her calling out a guy if he is genuinely being, a jerk. She's standing up for herself. That's fine. Nobody should be mistreated. But it seems to me that she just probably calls out everybody. 10, if one more guy cops out because he can't deal with me, I'm going to lose it. I know this is a cowardly, weak excuse to run away from me, and I'm tired of it. I'm clearly attracting all the wrong men, but I'm just being myself. This isn't what I want at all. Why can't I find the balance I'm craving? You keep attracting the guys you don't want because you're unwilling to change negative qualities about yourself. End of fucking story. 11, I'm into sweet, creative types, but they can't handle me. She just said she wants a certain masculine type of guy. That's my interpretation. Well, they're usually not the sweet, creative types. I mean, you can have masculine men that are creative, don't get me wrong, and there's degrees to being sweet, but still. Their egos are too fragile, and they aren't secure enough in their manhood, apparently. I enjoy men who aren't basic. I can't stand dudes who just want to drink a beer and watch sports all day. Well, those are usually masculine guys, honey. On the other hand, these artistic guys are often depressed and moody. Are you at all surprised, guys, why she's alone? You know, my God, this is an example of the world we're in. This is why so many of you guys said, I'm done with this shit. I'm happy alone, or at least not alone, but I got my bros, I got my hobbies, I got my interests, I got my family, I got my dog, I got my cats. And number 12, I cannot stand the ambitious, materialistic types who aren't scared of me. Oh wait, now she can't stand the guys that aren't scared of her? Their lack of intimidation is pretty much the only appealing thing about them. I don't care about money or things like that, so their high-powered careers, fancy cars, and sweet apartments do nothing for me. They end up hating me because I find them lame. So the guys that have success, have things like that, that turns her off too, even though, let's be honest, I never met a woman that didn't like a guy that obviously did well for himself here. So it seems like no matter what comes her way, she's going to find something wrong with it, be picky, and yet complain that she's alone, where all the good men, blah, 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 blah. She is her worst fucking enemy. I really want to know who put these ideas in her head and other ones like her over the years, that she's so amazing, such God's gift to the world, that no guy's good enough, and yet will complain. You see what I'm talking about here? So, gentlemen, there you go. This is an example of what we're in, and never feel bad for these types, ever. Whether it's your women in your family, your coworkers, your friends, whatever. They dig themselves a deep grave. I got no problem with having certain deal breakers. That's all right, but holy crap. Now, here's a big question. What happened to her later on? Because both those came from August 2017. Well, I looked up. The last one, I believe, was from the fall of 2023. And what I gather, she might be in her 40s at that point. And to no surprise, according to the article, she's still alone. Big freaking surprise. And probably still is now. Maybe now 2 years later in 2025, she found a guy. Who knows? Maybe she's settled. But I doubt it. But that is the world we're in. And you're going to see a lot more of articles and videos and all that, and then whining and complaining. But of course, it's the guy's fault, not theirs. If you're unwilling to make changes to yourself about negative qualities, this is what you're going to get. All right, guys, that's it for today. I hope you got a good laugh out of that. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you know somebody like this, if you dated somebody like this. I'd like to hear about it. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.